Something big is forming around Iran. And it's not just a protest story anymore. Because when Washington starts talking about very strong options, Tehran starts talking about crushing responses. And Beijing jumps in publicly to condemn threats. You're looking at a crisis that's turning into a global power test. Let's break it down. Here's the setup. Iran is facing major unrest driven by economic pressure and public anger, and the situation has triggered tighter security, arrests, and a severe information squeeze, including wide internet disruptions reported by multiple outlets. Now add the external layer. US President Donald Trump has been publicly signaling that his administration is reviewing a spectrum of responses, from tougher sanctions and cyber options to possible military strikes. And Reuters has reported that the White House has been weighing these strong options as unrest escalates. And that's where China steps in. China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning has pushed a clear line. Beijing says it opposes interference in Iran's internal affairs, opposes the use or threat of force, and calls on parties to act in ways that support stability in the Middle East. That might sound like routine diplomatic language, but it's not just words. It's Beijing signaling three things at once. First, don't normalize intervention. China is drawing a boundary against the idea that big powers can openly reshape governments under the banner of options. Second, don't widen the fire. If Iran spirals, it affects energy markets, shipping routes, and regional security, and China has deep interests in stability. Third, the US credibility battle. Chinese analysts are explicitly framing potential US action as another blow to America's already eroding reputation on international law and norms. Now, I'm Imran, a Middle East-based analyst, and I'll keep this neutral. The most important part of this story is not who is right, it's what happens next, and who miscalculates. So here's the key question. Is this a threat to the United States? Not in the Iran is about to invade America sense. The real threat is regional exposure and escalation mechanics. If a strike happens, or if cyber operations trigger retaliation, the most likely targets aren't the US homeland, they're US. Military assets in the region, allied infrastructure, and potentially high-value economic choke points like shipping lanes. And when Iran feels boxed in, internal unrest plus external pressure, regimes often do one of two things. Either they clamp down hard internally, or they try to change the subject externally. That's why this is dangerous. Because the overlap of protests, internet blackouts, military readiness, and major power threats creates a situation where one incident, one misread move, can produce a chain reaction, retaliation, counter-retaliation, and a broader regional crisis that spikes energy prices and destabilizes partners. China's messaging matters here because it's essentially saying, don't turn this into a precedent. But Washington's messaging matters too because it's trying to create deterrence. If you cross lines, we respond. And Iran's messaging is trying to do the same. If you hit us, you pay a price. That's three deterrence strategies colliding at once. My takeaway, the biggest danger is not intention, it's momentum. When leaders start speaking in ultimatums, they reduce their own flexibility, and when flexibility disappears, accidents become policy. If you want more calm breakdowns that connect geopolitics to real-world consequences, hit like, subscribe, and share. And tell me in the comments, do you think this ends in negotiation, or are we walking into a regional spiral?